Hey folks, it is Detective Ev here. Unfortunately, I will not be live with you for this particular event. This is a weekend replay by popular demand, and we're probably going to be doing some replays next weekend as well. These are only going to be available for a couple of days after they are launched. So we know not everyone can make the exact time that they're coming out. That's totally fine. But please note that they're only going to be out for about 48 to 72 hours approximately. So you do want to make sure you have time in your schedule to catch the replays while they are available. At the same time, I'm going to say this every single one. I apologize, but I want to make sure that you make this last event. We have our keynote speaker for 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Friday, June 28th. That's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We cannot wait to see you there. It is with the woman who created FDN's business school. She is doing a very pretty penny in her business, but more importantly, she's just like one of the nicest and coolest people you will ever meet. We're also giving away 4 advanced courses just for attending live. We did something like this last year. It was so much fun. We had like 200 people on the live call. We're giving away advanced courses left and right. It's just, I love the energy. And as a host, there is nothing more fun than seeing the chat blow up with 200 plus people. So we're looking forward to seeing you then. And we hope that you enjoy this replay session. Thanks. All right, good morning, everyone. I see some people already tuning in. Good morning, good morning. All right, hello. Man, I will say it every single time. I'm so impressed by some of the people that I see the names every time. You've gotten the most out of our summer open house for sure. It is awesome. All right, we're starting off today. New speaker. You guys already know my spiel. Always because when a speaker comes in, they don't know who they're talking to. I'd love to just hear where you're tuning in from and the credentials, if you have any. Please let us know. And to everyone who's been doing this every time, honestly, God bless you. You guys are amazing. But it does help, seriously, as a speaker to be able to see what people, I'll enable captions here. I got that request. What people are doing and not doing. And we're going to be mostly interview style today, although Sarah does have some stuff to share with us at the end. So, wow, dead group today. No one wants to say where they're from. Kim, I know you share it every time. Kim, give me something. Start it off. Laura said, Laura in Alberta, Canada, FDNP. Thank you, Kim. White City, Saskatchewan, Canada, registered nurse and health coach. Shani said, good morning from Puerto Rico. Very nice. Family nurse practitioner. Shani, I just met someone. Her name's Lindsay, and I play pickleball with her. Yes, I'm a pickleballer. Don't judge. And she has been living on like a boat in Puerto Rico or outside of Puerto Rico for like 3 years. So I thought that was absolutely amazing. And she comes back to town sometimes because her parents live here. Haley's in Texas, an FDN trainee. Marie said hi from South Carolina. Hello. Jennifer said Westminster, Colorado, FDN trainee as well. We got Tampa, Florida, FDNP trainee. Lots of pickleball here. Okay, apparently everyone loves it. Southern California, FDN student. Utah, burnt out LMT, self-taught at lots of stuff. And I love how yours, it's always the same thing. It's not like your credentials change, but the wording changes just a little bit each time. So now we're a burnt out LMT. Got it. I don't know if that burnt out has come more throughout the month or what's happened, but we got Colorado, dentist and FDN trainee. So Sarah, I'm sure you can see some of these, but seriously, guys, thank you. I know it's annoying to do this every single time, but Sarah, when you get to read this, you kind of get a vibe almost immediately of who you're talking to today, and it kind of helps us with the content. So we're going interview style. Sarah Ball is another 6-figure FDN, just so you guys know. So we will have some slides a little bit towards the end just for some extra content, but mainly we're going to be chatting with her. So that means if you ask questions, I will prioritize them the entire time. And you guys know somehow I never not have something to say. So I will have plenty of questions outside of that to get us started. But here is Sarah's bio, and then we'll get to the questions. So Sarah Ball is the founder and CEO of Hormone Goddess, an unconventional hormone company that helps women become their own self-healers through a holistic body, mind, emotion, and energy approach. She is a multi-passionate entrepreneur who intertwines her passion and expertise in minerals, hormones, gut health, emotions, somatic stress release, nervous system regulation, and quantum energy healing practices. She has been in the wellness space for 13 years and has built 5 businesses along the way. What started as a career as a marketing director for various wellness companies turned into figuring out her own health struggles with Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, PCOS, IBS-C, chronic fatigue, painful periods, and now we've turned this into a multi-6-figure company that serves women on 4 continents and counting. That's awesome. Only 3 more to go, right? I've got to find someone in Antarctica. That'll be hard. He also has been mentoring wellness entrepreneurs for 6 years and is the founder of the Relaxed CEO that supports female leaders on the rise reawaken their spark. Oh, sorry. Female leaders on the rise reawaken their spark and reclaim, I think that's supposed to be more freedom, ease, and alignment in their health, life, and business without being stuck in stress mode and burnout. I do this to myself every time. I'm like, oh, this bio is going great. I'm reading it perfectly. And then I stumble at the end. So, Sarah, thanks so much for being a part of Summer Open House.
I am so excited to be here. It's such a lively group, and there's some South Carolina people here too. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. But thank you, Evan, for that bio. I couldn't have said it any better myself. I appreciate that.
Cool. So, Sarah, I always like to get these conversations started with kind of the same things. And then again, audience, you guys are more than welcome to ask questions along the way. So you had this marketing director background. That was new to me. I thought that's interesting. And there's a lot to be learned there because I think people that have backgrounds in this stuff, they understand, of course, the business side a lot better. So when you went into this world of FDN and functional healing, like, did you take time off? Were you still working your marketing director job? What was that like at that time?
Yeah. So I actually quit my marketing director job. And why that happened was my dad was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at the age of 58. And my mom was working full time. I was working full time. I was so burnt out in my career to the point where I was still battling Hashimoto's. I had all those things that you were just talking about. I won't repeat that. PCOS, IBS, all the things. And I was just at my wit's end. I was burnt out in my career. I was burnt out with my health, and I really needed a break. So I quit my job and I was the caretaker for my dad for a little bit. And I just decided to dive deeper into trying to find answers for myself. Because as all of you know, I know you're here because of this, because you have your own personal health journey and you've helped people along the way. I was at my wit's end. I was going from doctor to specialist and just not getting answers. So I started researching things. And that's when I came across health coaching. I went to Duke Integrative Medicine at the time. It's now Duke Health and Wellness Coaching. I became a health coach through them. And I just kept getting so hungry to get more and more information. And that's actually when I came across functional medicine. I found a chiropractor acupuncturist that I was going to, and she was a functional medicine doctor. And she's like, hey, listen, I actually need some help. So I started doing health coaching for her, got super interested in this world. And I started healing my own self, the amazing testimonials that we were getting from clients working together. And it was just such a fun experience. So I actually started working with her. We had an in-person practice before COVID. And then COVID happened. And that is actually when I became an FDN 4 years ago. I cannot believe it was actually 4 years ago this June.
Wow. Okay. So I didn't know that part. So it's fair to say you guys were doing pretty well though before adding the FDN certification. Is that correct?
Doing okay. I gotta say, like, no fluff here. At the end of the day, I was not happy with where we were going with things. I felt like working with her, we got so far with people, but it felt so cookie cutter. I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to go so much deeper into people's bio individualities and learn more, because at that point I did do functional medicine university training to just have some education, and it grazed the surface. It was not nearly as deep as FDN. And I was just hungry for more information to really fill in the gaps that I wasn't really achieving at that point. I felt like there was gaps in my own health journey. There was gaps with the people we were supporting. So it was just such an appropriate time to, number one, COVID happened. So things shifted up pretty quickly. And then that's when I came across FDN. I was in a mastermind at that time, Sachin Patel's mastermind.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, he's a great guy. And a few of the people that went through the mastermind were recommending FDN. And I'm like, well, what's this? And I dove into it. I was researching it. And like, I finally feel at home. I finally feel like I found something that clicks with me and that is going to really give me the education and the resources that I'm craving and that I need to continue down this path of healing myself and supporting those around me and teaching them how to become their own self-healers.
It's so cool. And I think that's actually a really common theme that we've seen not only in this summer open house, but I hear this all the time where people have maybe some other certifications or education in it. And it's not that it's useless. That's not what anyone's saying, but it got them so far. And then just to be clear, guys, it's not that the FDN course in and of itself is taking you to the millionth level. It is very dense, but it's not that. It's more that our community and the resources afterwards and all that stuff. It's like, well, how far do you want to go? Do you want to be someone like me that took the main course and like one or two advanced courses and that's all you ever do? That's totally fine. I'm doing okay. Do you want to be like the Ryan Monahans of the world, if you know him, Sarah, who like have taken all of our advanced courses? Literally, the business is so successful, it's purely referral based and a six-figure business. And like just because he knows so much, you can do that as well. So I think it's the I don't know if Reed did this intentionally or not, but the spirit of the FDN community is one where we have a large amount of people that say, I'm never going to stop learning. Like it's just going to keep going. And it's so cool because for most of us, like we can come in and, if we absorb even 50% of what that person has, we're like in this amazing place. So that's really cool. So FDN at the same time, you're like, COVID happened. So I guess you're not taking those clients in person at that point, right? Like, is that shut down or what's going on there?
Yeah, so that shut down. And in
Okay.
Pennsylvania, that's when I lived in PA back at that point. It was in March, everything shut down. And so at that point, I am now online fully. And that is when I released that job. I released that career path and I decided, all right, I'm going to take a few months to figure it out. And I didn't do the FDN training till June, but in that time, I was working with some of our clients from the wellness center just to like do some lifestyle work with them and stuff. And I started doing the whole Zoom world that acclimated me to the online space. Thank goodness I went through that because that really set the pace for what my business was actually going to become. At that time, I didn't know you could have an online business. I didn't even know that existed. I remember being at my 9 to 5 job and thinking like, how am I ever going to have freedom in my life? How am I going to be able to like go on vacation and work like that? That's a real thing. I didn't even know that was a possibility. So that really like opened up the window of opportunity for me where I could help more people, not just in my location, where we could get creative and start supporting people throughout the states. And I didn't even think at that point I'd be helping people in different countries.
Yeah.
So it was really cool what that opened up.
What part of I get side question? What part of Pennsylvania were you in?
Yeah, so I was in the Doylestown area, specifically
What?
Sellersville.
I live in Doylestown. What place did you work at?
So
What?
I worked at the Penridge Wellness Center off of in Blooming Glen.
Oh, okay. What
Yeah.
the heck? That's awesome. So,
Oh my
wow,
gosh.
very cool. All right, that's
Small
awesome.
world.
Sorry, guys, we're having a moment here. So, yeah, I'm currently in Doylestown. That's
I
very
love it there.
interesting. Small world of FDN. So,
Hudson
and
County
health
is
coaching.
home to me. I love it there.
Yes, nice. So, okay, we got to get you on the actual FDN podcast. We got to do one together. I can tell the energies would be sweet here.
Mhm.
With that said, moving on to just business stuff. So when you transition online, and I hope that this is okay to ask, I'm only asking because I don't ever want to sell something to someone on this, like sell the idea that is, if it's not accurate, because you were doing well. We've had people on that were like, they were making nothing before FDN. So it's not that it's good or bad, but when you switched online, even before taking FDN, were you doing six figures already, can I ask? Or were you just making enough to have a job?
I was making enough to have a job. I was not six
Oh,
figures at that
okay.
point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
hmm
So you go through FDN, and then how did FDN and the training there? I mean, it sounds like that's a huge part then of you catapulting into the online six-figure world, which is a whole different
Yeah.
beast of in-person six figures. I would actually argue that in-person six figures can be, I don't want to say that it's easier, but it's more straightforward to hit that in revenue, but you got a heck of a lot of expenses. 100K in person is not the same as 100K online. I will tell you that. But it might be a little harder to do it online, at least initially, but when you do it, it's like, holy crap, like there's no overhead. So was the FDN course then a major part of you being able to achieve the six-figure status online, do you think?
It absolutely was. So when I was in person, I was doing that from 2017 to almost 2020. I was not able to hit the six-figure mark. I mean, I did have overhead. I had a lot of other expenses, employees at that point, and it was so challenging to hit that six-figure mark. And while her practice was booming in chiropractic and acupuncture, we were really just starting this world. People didn't know what functional nutrition, functional medicine was. So I had a lot of challenges at that point. I remember my first year, I only made it was 23,000. And it was just like, I was excited because, I'm coming from a marketing career where I made a little bit more than that. And so it was a little bit of like, okay, I'm going to need more to pay my living and my mortgage and my expensive, amazing food. It's really not expensive, right? Local farms, there's fantastic local farms that were in PA, but I had a standard for living and that was just not going to meet it. So I was a little bit concerned doing that. And throughout the years, it got a little bit better, but it never got to the six-figure mark. So that was just, I thought maybe at that point, I wasn't cut up for it. It wasn't for me. And I definitely had times during that in-person practice where I wanted to quit. I would say that was probably on a monthly basis where I was like burnout. See, the burnout followed me. That's the thing. The burnout followed me. I wasn't changing the way that I was doing things. I was still doing it from the same Sarah. I still had the same mentality going into it. I was seeing people back to back to back to back. I was exhausted. I had autoimmune flare-ups at that time. So it wasn't cupcakes and butterflies. I was super excited to have this freedom, but I knew there had to be more out there. And so COVID was honestly a blessing for me. I know there was a lot of heartache that came along with it for a lot of people out there, but there was also a lot of expansion and opening that has come from that with so many people. I've heard tons and tons of stories. And I know for me, that was really true. So that happened. And, I'm doing a little bit of work online. I'm starting to do this whole Zoom thing. I was totally new to online technology. So I was a newbie there as well. And I found the FDN course, started that in June. I actually got that done in 5 months because I was just so excited to get through it and start working with clients. So I was really taking care of myself during that summer and that fall. I was just working with people in more health coaching, lifestyle work. I obviously wasn't doing any testing with them yet, but I was so excited to start incorporating the deeper dive testing work with them. And once I graduated in November, I believe it was, I just hit the ground running with it. And I mean, right off the bat, I did not make six figures either. So I just want to be really honest with you all. I'm not an overnight success story whatsoever. I'm an example of persistency, putting the sweat equity in, but then also doing it from a place of joy and love and impact. And one of my absolute most important things ever is to make an impact, but also to have freedom. And what I mean is health freedom, time freedom, to have financial freedom. So all of that, I could see the infinite game at this point. There's a book called The Infinite Game. And that's where I could really see this big picture of where this is going. It lit me up. It made me so passionate. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep going down this path. I did not hit that six-figure mark until the second year in this business. So it took some time. That was 2022 is when I hit that six-figure mark.
Okay, well then this is actually even better than I thought because again, there's no wrong way to hit six figures, I don't think. But I actually misinterpreted in the beginning is what I mean. I thought this wasn't as relatable to the audience, but I'm like, oh my gosh, this has really only been the last couple of years. I think that's even more important to hear because we've had Jen Malek on. Jen's freaking awesome. Jen got me into FDN. Jen's been doing six figures for 10 years, right? She does a lot more than six figures. So it's it almost can seem well, that was back then, or how do I do that now? Or there's almost I don't actually perceive this in Jen, but maybe from an audience perspective, there's is there a disconnect here from how do you do this now? It's so this is last 2 years, this is post-COVID, and we're just getting rolling and figuring this out. So that's awesome. Julie actually said in the chat, I love that you are not an overnight success. It seems more attainable. Yeah, I mean, this is a system. I know we had someone on yesterday that's doing $1 million a month, and it's a separate type of business. It was more purely business, not FDN stuff. And yes, guys, most people probably will never hit those numbers. The six-figure thing, I think, is a very, very attainable thing. I genuinely believe that. And so just so you know, we got about 75 of you guys on live. I appreciate you being here, and so does Sarah, I bet. If you're just tuning in, since we first started talking, Sarah Ball is in six-figure FDN. And so this is one of those interview-style ones where you guys can ask questions the entire time if you like, and we will prioritize those questions. So my next question for you is, as someone who had this marketing director background, and I'm just using common sense of what marketing directors typically do, it's a pretty good job. It's not a bad one, that's for sure. And then you have this in-person stuff. This gets hit because of COVID. It's oh my gosh, all this crap's going on. What did it feel like in 2022 when you realized, okay, you didn't do $23,000, you made freaking six figures in your business, and you did this purely online? What did that feel like for the first time?
Oh my gosh. I was almost pinch me. I can do this myself. And surpass my income as a marketing director. Mind blown that I can actually do that myself. And it really gave me so much confidence and so much excitement for what is next. Of I'm able to do this. Again, I'm not an overnight success story, but I'm able to put in the persistent effort, the consistent effort, and it show, and how exciting that can be. And here's the thing too, I had to celebrate along the way. So while 23,000 at one point was it's really not enough to pay my bills, but hey, awesome. I made this myself. And I put myself out there, which at that point in my career, when I was a marketing director, I hid behind things. I didn't have to put my face to camera a lot. So at this point, being an FDN, I'm telling my story. I'm sharing really vulnerable moments. I'm being a real authentic human with people. And that took a lot of just vulnerability to get to that point. And people love that real, authentic, raw connection that you can make. And so I was a little bit of an imposter in the beginning. I had imposter syndrome for sure. But over time, it's like you really start to get comfortable with just sharing the truth and getting out there and just having fun with it. And yeah, it was just a really exciting time. And here we are in 2023, I actually got to multi six figures. So that was something that was a huge accomplishment for me. In 2024, we're projected to hopefully continue down that path as well.
Yeah. Okay. This is even cooler that you said this because I know a lot of people yesterday were talking about on a separate chat that they're nervous about being on camera. And just so you know, I'm not flattering you. Can you guys please put a yes in the chat if you agree with this? I feel like you're made for this. Like you're totally natural. I could picture you having your own talk show or something on like TV. So put a yes in the chat if you guys agree with that, so she knows I'm not just flattering her. So okay, yes.
Oh,
Here come all the
love
yes.
you guys.
Yes. No, I'm like, all right. That was shocking to me that was not something that you did prior
Oh,
to the FDN thing. So I
yeah.
know, yeah, you got it, man. That's awesome. Okay, multi six figures. I would argue, a notably different skill set than the six figure side. And here's what I mean by that. There's only, like, let's say it was just a normal job. There's only so many jobs in the world that pay over, 200,000 a year, for example. I mean, maybe doctors, lawyers, whatever, if you're in a firm, like very few jobs do that. There are jobs, but very few. Typically, what happens in the entrepreneurship world, and I've experienced this myself, you get to 100,000, which is beautiful. It's awesome. It feels freaking great. And you start to realize, well, wait a second, I'm like spending all my time to do this. I can't keep adding hours. At some point, I'm going to have to start adding more skills. And yes, let's say even if you could add hours somehow to get to like 300,000, like the people that come on here that are talking about 1 million something a year, you're never getting to that just by adding more hours in the day. You're going to run out, or you're going to kill yourself because of like the health side of things, right? You're going to kill your own health. So the multi six figures, what skills and pivots were required to go to that from 100K a year?
Yeah, it's a totally different game. The six-figure game and the multi-six-figure game is very different. And I'm assuming the seven-figure game is different too.
Yeah.
My mentors who I talk to are
imagine.
like, what got you here, six-figure, is not going to get you there. So it's really important to shift those things and know these things. And that's why I really want to share this too, because it's so powerful. And I've learned that so much from mentors along the way. I really do stand on the shoulders of giants at this point. And I have deeply valued the FDN community and my own mentorship along the way. But what has really moved the needle at this point, because six figures, I was working pretty hard to get there. It wasn't like I'm just sitting back. I did take vacations. I did take 3 months off. I will say that. But I was working pretty hard when I was working. And so what I needed to do to get to that six-figure mark, and looking at this hindsight, and what I learned along the way, is number one, systems. I am such a systems girl now. Solid systems that make you feel safe in your nervous system. So I believe the system we have really dictates the really bandwidth of our own nervous system at the end of the day. And what I mean by systems is automating things in our business. Like, what can we take off our plate? What can we either ditch, delegate, or what are we going to do at the end of the day? And so what I really had to start doing was not my Canva graphics anymore, but I had to start doing more of those zone of genius tasks for me. And for me, it's speaking, it's getting my message out there. It is writing content that really comes from my soul and comes from my essence. It is, getting on podcasts and creating my courses and just like that deeper work that I truly enjoy and the research that I do. It's not necessarily creating my graphics and all those, other minuscule things, like getting back to emails and those things I ended up getting support with. I ended up getting an assistant to support me with those things. But I did do those to become a six-figure entrepreneur. I did actually create my own graphics. I did all the things. But becoming a multi-six-figure entrepreneur, I had to let some things go. And that was hard because I wanted to control a lot of things in my business. But the more I stepped back and let things go, and allowed other people to do what they're passionate about and they love and do what I'm passionate about and what I love, that just amplified everything.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. And I feel like, sometimes that control thing or that willingness to let go can actually be buried under maybe limiting beliefs. And the reason that I say that is because I don't mean this just to hype up a family member, because I know everyone's going to talk well about their dad, assuming their dad was nice to them. My dad is legitimately the hardest working person I've ever met. From the time I was born until I was 25, 7 days a week, outdoor landscaping, left at 6 a.m., home at 6 p.m., weekends would go do his own stuff. Then when that business stopped, he would cook at my mom's restaurant on the weekends just to help out. I mean, it was ridiculous. It's sickening work ethic. Now the guy is 5 days a week managing at Toll Brothers, so he's doing a lot better, which is awesome. Like, he's making more than he's made. And he started a real estate thing. So now he's selling real estate, doing open houses on Saturdays and Sundays. I mean, you can't stop the guy. And my point in saying that, though, is you'd think, like, if someone's willing to do that, sky's the limit. Sky should really be the limit for that level of work ethic, because some people are just lazy. I don't know if it's that simple. I think some people are not passionate about what they're doing, but I think work ethic is a real thing. Some people have it, some people have less. And my dad, I won't say the amount, but he made, at least at that time, shockingly little for some. I'm like, Dad, you're the man. Like, what's going on here? And what he would say is like, I don't want to hire someone to do my hardscaping or landscape. He makes these beautiful backyards for people. I mean, they're stunning. He's like, but I want it to be perfect and do it my way. I'm like, well, that's great. I mean, there's only two options then. Either one, you have to charge what you're worth, because this is freaking awesome. And I know they're not getting this from the chain company. Or two, you got to figure out, how do you get someone else into their zone of genius? Like you said, you're not hiring some random kid to do it poorly. You hire someone that has that gift to be able to do what they have to do. So, was that hard to overcome, those limiting beliefs around that stuff? And like, oh, it's going to all get messed up if I don't have control of this?
Oh my gosh. We have very similar limiting beliefs, by the way, that I've worked through. And this is a lifelong journey. I'm still working through them. I didn't like hit the end goal. It's just like healing. It's linear. And I truly see healing as a spiral. I see business as a spiral. There's always another layer to unlock and something to learn about ourselves. Business is like the quickest personal development journey ever that you could be on. It's like the fast track. Man, if you're going to get on that entrepreneurship journey, you're going to learn a lot about yourself, and it's all going to hit you in the face. But it's good, because that is going to help you evolve and grow as a human. It's going to help heal you. I can't tell you the amount of healing that has come out of this. And so, Evan, one of the biggest ones that I had is that I had to work hard to make money, and I saw my dad do it. And same thing, similar to your dad. My dad was an engineer. He was working mostly 6 to 7 days a week. In my playroom growing up, I would see him, his office was directly in my playroom. I would see him just like this on his computer, working so hard. And I would equate that work had to be hard and heavy, and there had to be like struggle when it came to it. I'm still working through this. I've worked through tons of layers with it. And I will tell you, by working through that limiting belief, and also the belief that it is only me who can do the best work in the business, that is total BS at the end of the day. There are people out there who can do way better messaging support than me, way better graphics than I can do. And I've learned that along the way, and I really have trusted that. It's a huge game of surrender and trust.
Yeah.
When you can surrender, and you can let go of more and more control. And this also goes for your healing journey. When you can surrender to those I call healing upgrades, those healing opportunities, more and more expansion will come out of that for you. So that was a huge one for me. And here's another one. Mm-hmm. And you guys might resonate with this too. I had to sacrifice my health, my family, and my life to make money. That was such a huge limiting belief for me. So along the way, every job that I had was burnout. That was just my common MO, at the end of the day. And so we really had to work through that too. And letting go more, getting more support. I have a very lean team. I don't have a huge team here. And I like to keep it lean and profitable. And so when you have that support, it's like you can step into what you're passionate about. Because I don't believe burnout comes from doing too many things. It comes from doing very little of what you love, right?
Yes.
So when you do what you love, when you're in your zone of genius, but you're not overworking. You still, when you play, you play. When you work, you have that boundary. Amazing things can come out of that.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions coming in. I'm a walking self-help book, Sarah. And the one I loved that you said that entrepreneurship's a personal development journey, because and talk about limiting beliefs. We get sold this crap by the media from a young age that like anyone that makes substantial money is like a scumbag, or they lied or they manipulated. Yes, that exists somewhere. It exists in every profession ever, no matter what the income level is, just so you guys know. But some of the people that I've seen doing like substantial things, and like there's some of the most incredible people that you've ever met. And if you guys need someone to look up, if you're ever just having a bad day, look up Jim Rohn, Rohn, on YouTube, and just listen to him for hours. So he was a famous personal development speaker for decades, and he had a mentor, Earl Shoaf, and Earl Shoaf asked him, "What are your goals for income?" So I don't have any goals, and he said, "You should set a goal to become a millionaire." This guy's like 25 at the time. This is like probably 60 or 70 years ago when the goal was set. He said, "A millionaire? Why would I do that?" He said, "Because of the person that you're going to have to become to figure out how to get that $1 million." I'm like, oh man, it's so good.
So good.
All right, here we go. Here we go. M said, "What advice would you have for someone that has zero marketing background? How much do you think that played into your success?"
Okay, here's the deal. The marketing stuff that I learned in school is not the marketing they have nowadays. So just so you know, it was very like textbook marketing, ads, like paper ads, and those types of things. So I didn't learn when I was in school, there was no such thing as online marketing. So I had to actually teach myself all of that stuff. So having a marketing background does not have a huge play in it. I had to actually learn all these things. And I'm so glad I learned them along the way, because that's another thing that comes with being a business owner. You learn a lot of amazing skills. And even if you don't love them, that's okay. You can eventually delegate them down the road, as I'm doing right now. But I do not believe you need a marketing background to be successful. I had to throw out a lot of the things I learned in college, a lot of the things I've learned at my old job, to actually embrace the online world now. And don't get me wrong, I still embrace my community and get out there, and I'll do like flyers and stuff like that, but very little. Most of the work I do is online.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. What else we got here? Bowana? I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. That is a cool name. Let
That's a
me know,
beautiful name.
where's that from? Like where's that name originate from? Let me know that in the chat. So I have a question for you, Bowana. And her comment was, or his comment, I think it's her. "Your persistence and commitment is now showing up. I loved what you said. It was joy, love, and impact. Also, I have read the book Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. Best wishes for abundance and success to you." Oh, Simon, just a nice comment. These people
I
are
love
great.
it.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Yeah, what a great thing to
You
say.
as well, all of you.
Yeah, especially if you come on as a guest, you get this. They're calling you gorgeous. They say you're a natural on speaking.
Oh
These
my
people are
gosh, you
awesome.
guys, I
You'll
need to
keep them
come on
coming
here more
back.
often. Get out of my head.
Okay, that was all right. Kristen said, "Any good programs you recommend that helped you implement systems into your own business?"
Ooh, so good. So one thing when I started off, I just, and I think a lot of you probably have this in common too, which actually made me attracted to FDN. I have like a pattern brain and a systems brain. So I'm really hungry to like put the dots, connect the dots and everything. So at the time, I was actually working with a mentor. She was a huge name. Her name is now Sage, but Kristen Thomas, I did work with her back when she was doing her business programs, and she helped me with some systems work. But I also know FDN Business School does a bunch of that. I haven't personally gone through that, but I know people who have, and it's been super helpful for them. But honestly, a lot of it has been trial and error. It's been me just like failing at systems and asking the question, how can I make this better? Going through, how can I make this more effective? How can I make this more efficient? How can I take me out of it as much as possible? It's really just asking those high level questions as you go on. A lot of business is trial and error along the way.
Yes. Okay. Bunch of thank yous. Haley said, "At what point financially income at what point of like financially or income threshold would you recommend having an assistant? I'd love one, but I don't have the income for it at the moment."
Sure. Sure. This is such a great question, because I really grappled with this for a while. I like could not justify it, because I was like, well, I'm not making like a certain amount that in my mind would justify it. But to be honest, I wish I would have started sooner. And even if it's like really small tasks, like 5% of something, maybe it's like something that hangs you up. For me personally, it was like my emails. My clients don't email me. I have softwares in which they connect with me. So this is really people from the outside who are asking questions and such. And so I hired someone and created these templates and scripts that we can reach out to people if they're asking certain questions. So I started really small with just that one task alone, that thing that kind of kept me burdened and kept me outside of my zone of genius and gave me a lot of frustration and headaches. So even if it's one small task that you outsource, and what I did before I hired somebody part-time, I don't have any full-time employees, just so you know, but I don't pay benefits or anything. I hire contractors, which feels really good for me and my nervous system, but maybe down the road we'll do full time. But what I did is I actually hired people for small jobs. I hired somebody for a sales page. I hired somebody to help me create some graphics. So you can start really small, maybe spend, $100 or spend a few $100s max with somebody, get some things to take off your plate, and then go from there.
Mhm. Awesome. Thank you. And this, I'm just answering this real quick because it was a follow-up to that last thing.
Sure.
So did I hear right that that we will learn business systems with the Biz School add-on with FDN? Yeah. So, um, uh, I mean, ideally you'd get into the course beforehand, but I know that you're going to be in Mexico, but the last event, the keynote of the month, is with the woman who actually created business school. The way that I always word business school is it is an A to Z guide. If you do not understand the taxes, we will help you with that. If you don't understand LLC versus S Corp, sure, we'll help you with that. What happens when you hire the first person? How do you do an email campaign? What about the website? What about the, it's A to Z. And in fact, we have just if you type in Jennifer, I'll send you the guys the link in a second. I'll type it in when Sarah's asking or answering the next question. But there's a podcast where I actually interview her and she talks about that. And I know you guys have a lot of content to consume this week, but you can listen to that if you want. So, all right, going back to the next questions in order. Haley, we did hers. Otto said, how did you go about creating/building your hormone protocols? How many do you think you have now dealing with hormones?
Oh, such a good question. Okay, so where it all started was what I learned along the way. So I learned a little bit working with a functional medicine doctor. I learned a little bit in health coaching. I learned a lot of it in FDN, a ton there. But out of anything, I learned from experience. My first 100 clients, even my first 10 clients, I learned so much from them, so many pearls, so much wisdom. And the other thing is I learned from myself. So I am the type of person I choose to go first. I have like a little bit of a trailblazer mentality, which is probably why all of you are here too. I feel like all FDNs and all future FDNs have that similar energy of like, we're hungry to just explore more and go deeper and know the truth of things. And so where it all really started, these protocols, is like the wisdom I learned along the way, right? And FDN was such a big piece of that. And so while I was doing like the FDN principles, like what we were taught and some of these protocols and everything, I was also like learning how to deal with certain clients and certain challenges that came along the way, learning how to support myself. It opened me up to all these different avenues. I've actually created my own method called the Roots Method, where we dive into the physical stuff, so a lot of the FDN stuff, but we also go into the mental, emotional, and energetic layers too. And that's not necessary, but that's what I needed on my path. These are all, honestly, I will forever be so grateful for my 10% of clients who were I get a lot of challenging cases, kind of have that reputation, but the 10% that like, no matter what we did, like there was always like this plateau. And I wanted to learn more. I wanted to dive deeper. And, I asked for guidance from, spirit source, like whatever you believe in, right? And I've always like asked for guidance. I listened to my intuition, and honestly, these things just like would come through and I would learn them myself. I would always go first. I would embody them. So when I learned about minerals, I took myself through that process. And then I started doing it with clients. When I learned about emotional processing and nervous system regulation work, I took myself through that and then taught that. So a lot of it, like, I know it's not like a clear answer, but I will tell you, I've just learned so much from experience. But I also had the tools going in, which was really nice too.
Awesome. Thank you. And I see we're at almost 90 people now. If you're just tuning in live, thanks for being with us. We are with Sarah Ball, Six Figure FDN interview style. So you guys can ask any questions you'd like. And if you don't have questions, I always have plenty to say. So no worries there. I also have just received this exact message from our team. So if you're looking into the FDN course this month, you guys will like this one. So we now have a huge announcement at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today. So if you are online for our next summer open house session, which is actually another six-figure FDN, Shay Pascal. So we have two six-figure FDN sessions today. That one starts at 2:30 EST. And then at the end of her 90 minutes, we're going to be announcing the announcement live. And I'll give you a little hint. If you're thinking about enrolling this month, it might just be, hypothetically, some type of an additional bonus offered. So you still get your $1,000 off the course, which is available all month, but there might be a little bonus there. If you cannot make it, do not yell at me. I already said to them, I'm like, well, what happens if they can't make it? You can also check your email, but there's something fun about it, live announcement. So that'll be at 4 o'clock EST. Make sure to check out the next session. Thank you, Sarah, for my little ads here and allowing me to do this. Elizabeth asks a pretty broad question, but maybe you'll have a good one for this. Do you have current favorite systems that you are enjoying? So like, I guess, like, are there systems in your business that you like really love, or like you're super happy that you figured out?
Yeah. So one of them, I am huge on client experience. So I've really built out a beautiful client experience process from the moment that they find me to the moment they sign up and the first message they get from me, and like every single step along the way. That is honestly one of my favorite systems that I've built along the way. I know that's not an external system that I'm talking about right now. But I am huge on when you have incredible client experiences, when you just love on your clients and you make it such a beautiful, extraordinary experience, not this like ordinary stuff that they can go to anyone. They can go to any health coach. They can go to anybody at that point. We want it to be like where they tell everybody in their life. They tell their friends, they tell their family. I'm a very referral-based business. I mean, we also do online and community and stuff, but that just like helps them keep coming back. So nailing that process down has been just such a release off of my plate, but also ensures that every client is going to have an incredible experience with us. I also use a platform called Kajabi, and this is not telling everybody to use it, but it just worked for me. I've been using it for years, and I host my email marketing I do on there. I host my courses and my membership on there. Payment goes through there. I have a lot of things happening in that space. So that's been really beautiful and relaxing for my nervous system as well to have stuff in one space. But I know there's amazing other systems out there too that people use and they rave about. Personally, that has just worked for me.
Cool. Thank you. Otto asked this to me, but I think this is a question that both of us can answer. So thank you, Otto. Crafting protocols on your own can be daunting, even discouraging for a new grad. So how many protocols or protocol sheets does FDN provide? So my answer to this, and again, I want you to correct me if you have a different interpretation, Sarah. It's like the way that I look at it is if we just gave out generic protocols for everything, we wouldn't be FDNs, right? The whole point is to have it customized to the person. Now, can we still give you the template, so to speak, so that you can plug and play? Yes, right. You're not doing it from scratch every time per se, but I don't know that I would answer it in terms of like a numerical amount, like saying, oh yeah, there's 5 protocols. It's like, it's not that. What we're doing is teaching you how to think about this and how to use the lab so that you can be like, okay, we're going to do this, but it's like, the reason it can't be the same for everyone, it's like, let's say I had a generic supplement protocol, and let's say that one of the ingredients in one of those supplements of a generic protocol was turmeric. Okay, but the person came up as sensitive to turmeric on their food sensitivity test. Does that protocol now apply to that person? Well, no. And so we might still be addressing a specific thing, but how we do it's different. So do you have anything to add to that, Sarah? Like, because I don't know how to answer how many we have. It's not like we have a number.
Yeah, we don't. We definitely don't. And I think with FDN, they do a fantastic job giving us like the foundations of the protocols and such, and how to use the supplements and how to use the tools and everything. So I think that is so beneficial. And I really leaned on that when I was a new grad. But over time, I will tell you, I know it might sound a little daunting right now, it becomes second nature. You can actually just be in a session with a client, you can be talking to a client, and you're going to have these, intuition hits or whatever you call them, where it's like, okay, this is where we're going to try and we're going to go next. And then also trial and error, right? Because at the end of the day, like, how's your body responding to it? We need to ask them those questions too, because I might take something and my body loves it, and somebody else might take it and they don't have as great of an experience. So we really do have to go case by case.
100%. Thank you. Julie asked you, do you offer business training as well as health coaching, Sarah?
I do. Yes. That is in my company, The Relaxed CEO. I've actually been mentoring health coaches, wellness entrepreneurs, FDNs since, well, not FDNs, but health coaching and wellness entrepreneurs since 2018. Recently, I've been supporting more people in the FDN space. But yeah, you can just reach out to me.
Is that the relaxceo.com? I'm happy to
So
drop it.
no, I don't have a website for that yet.
Oh, that's
No,
okay.
I've just been I've just been working with people who reach out to me.
Where would you like them to reach out? Is that Instagram or what?
Instagram or my email. So you can reach out to me on Instagram. I'm at the Hormone Goddess, or my email is hello@hormonegoddess.com.
Great. Thank you.
I was actually a mentor for Duke University for many years in their health coaching program too. So
Oh,
have a lot of
nice.
background with business.
Very cool. All right. What made you keep going? Oh, this is such a cool question. What made you keep going when you made 23,000 in your first year? What was
Oh,
the energy and thinking that you were putting into it?
I wanted to quit. Oh my gosh. And I mean, like with entrepreneurship, you have to get uncomfortable with uncertainty. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. Like you really have to get comfortable with uncertainty. And that's a lot of letting go and a lot of learning about yourself and surrender. And so at that point, what kept me going was the people that were reaching out to me, even if they weren't clients. I call them, I'm going to tell a little story about Driftwood, but the people who were like sending me messages on Instagram or sending me emails saying like, oh my gosh, the way that you shared this changed the way I now look at things and see stuff. Like, I thought I was the unicorn. I thought I was the one having all these problems, and there was nobody else out there experiencing this. That is honestly what kept me going. The people who were reaching out and saying, hey, listen, Sarah, what you're doing is gold. And please keep sharing. Please keep doing this. That helped me so much because inside I wanted to quit. I mean, way more than once. I mean, many different times I was like, I'm ready to let go. But I will say a little story about Driftwood. So Driftwood really, I live by the ocean and I love all the ocean analogies and stuff. Driftwood come when we're on a boat in the middle of the ocean, if you've ever been, when we're coming close to shore, you're going to start to see driftwood, right? It's going to give you a signal that we're almost on land. And so those were my driftwood moments. People reaching out to me. Maybe they weren't buying, maybe they weren't customers yet, but a lot of them shared with their friends who were customers, or they came back a year later and were a customer. Or that energy that I just put out there saying, you know what, I'm happy whatever's coming to me, that energy that I put out there attracted more at the end of the day. So really it's looking at the long game. I knew that I had such a passion for this. Like I will never not have a passion. I definitely do a lot more business work now and support wellness entrepreneurs with building their business and systems, but I will always have a passion for this work. And I think that's so important. That keeps you going.
Yes. Love it. Liz
Mhm.
said, can we get a replay of this call, please? Well, Liz, you did say please. Now, at the same time, just so you guys know, I think everyone knows this that's been watching regularly. We don't have recordings of this per se. We're not like doing like a group recording. It's too much for the tech team and we'd have to charge for it. But we have done some replays and we do have some replays scheduled this weekend. So if you guys would like a replay, just put yes in the chat, and then I can show the team. These are like my bargaining chips, and then they're like, well, we don't want to piss everyone off. So just drop a yes in the chat if you guys would like a replay of this call. We can get it going again on the weekend. Is the FDN program affiliated, and can you get certifications with Health Association / ICF certified? So no, we're not. To say it actually is really not good because a lot of FDNs or even health coaches will loosely say I'm certified as like an IIN health coach. I'm certified as an FDN practitioner. Technically, you're not. Like certification is a legal term, at least in the United States. So really, you're not certified per se. So the answer is no. The only main affiliation we have with anything that'd be useful if you're really looking for a title of some sorts is in America, the American Association of Drugless Practitioners, where you can call yourself a holistic health practitioner among graduating or after graduating FDN, but that's about it. Okay. Another moment. Okay. How many, Sarah, how many clients do you have per day and a week, if you don't mind answering?
This might surprise you. So when I first started my business, I had not many, but as I grew into that six-figure mark, I actually worked with a lot more clients. So I probably had, are you asking like a week or a month?
They said per day or per week. So, I mean, it's up, whatever it's easiest for you to come up
Okay,
with.
let me see how I want to quantify this. Because I would take people like quarterly. Um, I would say what I was doing was we were having I had about 60 clients a year at that point. Yeah. So if you want to break that down monthly, I'm not really good at math, but that's about what I was working with at that point, one-on-one wise in
Mhm.
a year. Now I actually have a lot less clients, and my programs are a lot more high ticket.
Gotcha. Well, and
So
that's what happens when you charge what you're worth for the value that you're providing, right? Like
yeah.
60, yeah, it's like that's, I mean, if you think about on average how many you'd be adding, I know it probably didn't work out this way, but it's like 52 weeks in a year, right? So it's like, you know, it's not even, it's like in 40 hours in a week, and you figure out how to onboard one new person, probably. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you
Yeah.
can do that. All right. What else we got? I lost some of my questions here because everyone was saying yes for the replay. So I did send that to the team. I'll let you guys know what they say for that one. And we probably should be good to go. Customer experience is everything. Such a great tip. Yep. Thanks, Ev. I'll check out the podcast because unfortunately I will miss the last call. No worries. I'll already just say we're going to have to do a replay for that one. It's going to be epic. Kim said, where do you go to receive help in creating those client processes?
Mm, yeah. So I've had some mentors along the way that have helped me. And I mean, this is really not a cut and dry answer, but it's a lot of experience. And honestly, like my first few clients was like my first probably 10 clients or so, it was a little bit of a mess. Which was okay. You know, I wish there was FDN Business School back then. That would have been really supportive. But it was a little bit of like trial and error. And okay, so this client is like messaging me on weekends and messaging me my off hours. Okay, I need to zero down on my boundaries, or double down on my boundaries, or I need to clean up my contract. Um, during that time too, where if a client was like, okay, where are we going next? Oh, okay, I need to like write out a process of what we're doing. And it doesn't have to be like this cookie cutter thing of what I do with everyone. This like really broad perspective of what we're doing. So a lot of it just came from my own experiences. Asking, oh, the FDN community is like one of the best when it comes to support. So that Facebook group alone, I just asked questions. I was like, what are you guys doing? Those who are ahead of me, 5 steps ahead. I've made some incredible friends in that community, amazing colleagues. And that honestly, like, really helped me get through. So asking questions about protocols and what to do next. And when my boundaries were really lacking and I felt burnt out, and how people are working their systems and stuff, that community really was like my lifeblood at that point.
It's the best. Reed always, and this is
Mhm.
like a joke, but it's not a joke. So Reed, the founder of FDN Guys, always says, like at any dinner or if he's on a live or whatever, he said, he started this as a weekend course. So what is now taking people 8 to 9 months because of how much has been added was originally a weekend course. And he said, yeah, I always plan on just certifying people, then you know you're on their way, but they wouldn't leave me alone. Like they just
Yeah.
stuck around. And then here we are. We got thousands of people in some of these groups. It's absolutely incredible. So, iPhone asked, "Hi Sarah, other than Kajabi, can you list any other tech tools that you find valuable for creating that fabulous user experience as well as anything that helps your nervous system?"
Absolutely. It is all about regulating that nervous system too. And I'm a kind of girl where I'm a do less girl. I like to keep things simple. So you're not going to see me like recommending 10 different software systems. I used to. I use Kajabi and I use Practice Better. It's because I have some different things and that I use. I really like Kajabi for the course and the membership. But for Practice Better, you can still do that. So you could keep it super simple and keep things on there. But personally, I've been using Practice Better since I had an in-person practice. And that is so supportive for contracts and invoicing and putting protocols together. I have literally protocols that are already built out. I don't have to create a new protocol every time. I just have like snippets I put in there. And oh my gosh, it used to take me 2 to 3 hours. Like that's so embarrassing to create a protocol. I now create in like 10, 15 minutes. So I'm a lot more efficient with these things. Practice Better has also been really incredible for client messaging and having boundaries on there. You can do group messaging. I like voice messenger, so you can use that on your app. So there's a lot of potentiality with it.
So my team's in love with me right now, folks, but the people did speak and the people did win. We are going to add Sarah's to a replay this weekend. It'll stream on our YouTube and Facebook. We'll let you guys know when the time and day is officially announced, but we will have a replay for you, Sarah. All right. So, and don't worry, it's a replay. You don't have to come back. She's like, well, wait a second, wait a second. I didn't sign up for that. All right. Haley asked, for a consultation call, would you recommend more of a Zoom call or phone call in terms of improving client experience?
Mm. And would you say this for like a discovery call, or is this an actual like call with a client? I'm assuming it's a call with a client.
Let's say that for now. Oh no, actually, Haley just said, thank you, Haley, for listening.
Okay.
Said yes, discovery, like a discovery call.
Fantastic. Just wanted to confirm that. I've done both, honestly, at the end of the day. I personally like to see people and I like to just, be face to face. I feel like you can really get to know a lot about people's nonverbal cues and such. So I personally do it that way. But I actually just had a phone call last week and she bought. So I mean, there's really no perfect way to do it. It's just if you're a type of person where you enjoy seeing someone face to face and you want to pick up on some of those nonverbal cues, it can be super helpful to have on a Zoom. I wouldn't say there's one better over the other. I've had success with both. When I started out my business, I only did phone calls.
Cool.
Mhm.
Being from Canada and possibly, this is more, I guess, for me, and possibly enrolling in FDN, will these credentials and or certifications I receive from FDN be considered for registration through the Health Coach Alliance of Canada? So no. And here's the thing, even if I don't want to discredit FDN or any other health coaching program because these programs are all amazing, there is no program that exists, FDN or otherwise, that is going to bring you clients or enough clients, that's for sure, to have a full business off the name alone, right? People, and this is why we teach all the business stuff. Because I don't want to be confusing with this, but this is why we teach the business stuff. People search for dentist near me. Everyone knows what a dentist is, right? Sometimes people even search for chiropractor, acupuncturist, right? They know what these things are. And as the world's become more aware, it's great that people are searching FDN, but I wouldn't go into any business banking on that anyway, even if I was a dentist. But still, you're not going to get the same just random searches. People aren't searching necessarily for IIN Health Coach or NTA, all great programs, but they're not searching for that. So we need to go out with the business skills and say, hey, this is what we do, this is what we help. And you know what's funny? In probably 8 years of doing this, I think I've had 10 people total now ask my credentials. And a few of them became FDNs because they were asking, like, what are how can we actually go do this ourselves? Like, what the heck do you do? So people don't care about that. And I'm not trying to go off track from your answer, but I'm just letting you know that I don't want you to think that people get so sold on these credentials that places offer or these titles. And it's like, if you find me the title that brings in 20 clients a year, that's awesome. Let me know and I'll go get it. I haven't seen that one yet, just so you know. I'll off my soapbox. Would you recommend Kajabi over cobbling together, Get Healthy, MailChimp, etc.? Is there room to grow and create courses in Kajabi?
Yeah, there's a lot of room here. I don't have I haven't had experience with Get Healthy. I do have colleagues and friends who use that and they love it. So I really can't share from that piece. But with Kajabi, what I love about it is there's a lot of room to grow, and they have fantastic customer support. They're always growing and expanding, and it just really helped me for my own needs. And I'm big on I love to have a course section for all of my members. I love to have a membership community where we can chat and talk and do live calls and just like really foster and build that community because I believe that people do heal in community. So it gave me that piece. Practice Better though, and I believe Get Healthy, I can't speak for that, do have those options as well though.
Your
So keep
passion
it
shows.
simple.
Sorry. Your passion shows, Sarah, such great info. Yes, it does. All right, bunch of yeses for the replays. Yes, okay, that's from before. Yeah, we got you guys. Don't worry, we're working on it. Okay, what else? What else? Okay, and Sarah, I know that we teach foundationals in FDN. You're also very experienced, and I've specified to these people multiple times over the month that when you've learned how to actually use the rules, that's when you can start modifying them a little bit, but don't
Yes.
modify the rules until you know them. So what are the functional lab tests that you basically order for each client now?
Okay. Do you want to share what I did in the beginning and what I do now, or just what I do now?
Just what you do now is fine.
Okay, sure. I'm a simple girl. So I do HTMA, the hair tissue mineral analysis. I am a mineral nerd. I've learned from some of the top mineral experts in the world. Lisa Patel is one of my mentors too. So that's one of my personal favorites. I also do the GI map test. I do the Dutch hormone test. And that is about it right now.
Very cool. I've heard that quite a
Yeah.
few times from people.
Mhm.
This is a good question because it's kind of subjective, but I think there's some generally accepted guidelines to it. So Otto asked, what do you consider high ticket and what goes into it and the pricing? So what is high ticket?
Sure. Yeah. It's a really different person. So I have different offers for different people at the end of the day. So I have an offer where you can just step in, get your feet wet, get your mineral test. We can get you started with the lifestyle tools. So we have that option for somebody who doesn't want to spend a bunch of money, but they want to get their feet wet in this world and they want to start supporting their hormones and thyroid and gut health and all those things. When I'm talking high ticket, what I really mean, it's a certain type of person that I work with at that point. That is a person who is my, what I call my soulmate client. So they're really like a mirror of me. They've gone through similar journeys. They want similar things. So I've really gotten clear on like who that person is, like calling in my person and like, who do I love working with? And how can I deliver like such a fun, like even luxury experience for them, but also keep things simple to where they're not overwhelmed. And also what I mean about high ticket is I'm putting more time and energy into it. So I really value my time. I value my energy. It's taken me a long time to get there. I've changed my prices on like a quarterly basis, especially in the beginning. I used to change all the time because I was like, I don't know. But here's the thing, like when we start to charge what we're quote unquote worth, like where is that even? You're inherently worthy. You're already worthy. The transformation is honestly in the transaction. So my high level clients, we collapse timelines. So something that might take someone 2 years, we can get done in 4 to 6 months. And I'm confident because they're ready to go all in with me. The people who just want to kind of dabble in, they have a different offer. And then we have it in between too. So that's really what I'm talking about when it comes to high ticket. It's the people who also value their time and energy and want to just go in.
Yes. All right, as we are at the top of the hour, please know that Sarah was nice enough. She's going to stick with us for up to another 30 minutes while we do questions. And your energy has not changed one bit since you started. You're amazing. So thank you. We will be back at 2:30 EST, 11:30 PST with Shay Pascal. And she is different than Sarah, but similar in the sense that they're both six-figure FDNs. And then we have that special announcement for people who are looking into the FDN course at 4 o'clock EST today. Another bonus was added. So you guys will like this one a lot. And we did schedule, I got this notification, so don't worry if you can't make the time. Hear me out. We scheduled Sarah's replay for 7 a.m. PST, 10 a.m. EST on Sunday, June 23rd. But please know that that is streaming to our YouTube and Facebook. That means it will be there for a couple of days before we take it down. So if you're like, screw you guys, I'm not waking up at 7 a.m., then you can still get it a couple of days later. Although I see M in the chat saying, Sarah, I will wake up for you because I love your energy, but get your sleep and you can catch you a little bit later. It's all good. Just make sure you're following us on YouTube. All right. As a beginner, what do you recommend charging for 3 months of coaching? I mean, there's so much to that. Depends on what goes into it, but
there's so much to that. 3 months of coaching. What did
we talking FDN or Mayor? Can you give us a little more? I'll go back to your question. I promise. Are you talking as an FDN practitioner? Are you a health coach that doesn't offer labs? There's a really wild difference with some of that stuff. We'll come back to it, Sarah. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay. Can you provide more details about the business coaching you offer? What does it include, et cetera? Yeah, especially since we're at the top of the hour, Sarah. Like everyone, when you come in and provide what you're providing, everyone wants to hear about your stuff. I'd love to know more about the Relaxed CEO. Like, give us the details. Give us the pitch, even.
Absolutely. Okay. Sound good. So the Relaxed CEO I created because I went through a lot of burnout in my obviously career and in building my business and businesses along the way. And I've come to this conclusion that a lot of it has to do with our inner world, our nervous system, our emotions, our mindset, our body at the end of the day. And so in the Relaxed CEO, what I do with people, I take the women who work with me and men who work with me, they're trailblazers. They are visionaries. They are passionate. They want to make an impact. And they also want a freedom-based business that affords them the freedom also financially as well. And they really value their body. They value their health as well. So when we go through the process, what I really do with people is we start to work on regulating their nervous system. And before I get into that, I truly believe like when we have our health, we have a million dreams. And when we don't have our health, we have one dream. And I had a mentor tell me that one day, and it just like really landed with me. And I believe that we get to have both. We get to work on our health and we get to have a really beautiful business that is regenerative, that is sustainable, that is expansive, that lights us up, makes an impact simultaneously. We get to do both. And so we do that as we go through the Relaxed CEO. We support the nervous system. I'm also trained in somatics. I'm trained in a lot of different nervous system tools, brain retraining. So I do all those things to help you release those limiting beliefs around I have to work hard to make money, I have to sacrifice all the things to make money. We help release patterns of self-sabotage that might be showing up in your business and in your life, because I can guarantee you if it's showing up in your life, it's going to show up in your business. So we work on both simultaneously during this process. And I also incorporate, I call this process mineral alchemy. I'm really passionate, if you don't already know about minerals. I'm able to see a lot of trends with mental and emotional health in minerals. And we do a remineralizing process during that journey to help just your body get to this place of thriving and to where you have more energy. 10 years ago, I looked lifeless and I was tired and so inflamed. Nowadays, it's like we can also be that place where we're like glowing and we're excited and we're expansive. People ask me, like, where do you get this energy from? And I'm like, well, it's the work. I'm an embodiment of the work I do. And these are the people who want to also be the same. So without going too far into it, there's a lot that goes into the Relaxed CEO process. But also we go into the business side of things. So I'm a huge believer that when we have systems and processes that are sustainable, that help us create momentum while regulating our nervous system, we can expand to the capacity of what we were made to do here. And we can hold that energy and we can really, truly scale. So I teach you systems, I teach you processes. We go into, like, honestly, a lot of the stuff that I've learned along the way, a lot of wisdom that I've learned, how to build authentic collaboration, partnerships, connection, and community, both online and offline. So I am predominantly an online business, but I also do some stuff offline too. I've really leveraged my community, and I freaking love Charleston. But when I was in Pennsylvania too, I've really leveraged my community and have learned how to do both, and have, like, at the end of the day, people selling my program without me even selling it, creating affiliates. Like, there's just so much expansion and possibility there. So I teach you how to do that. And one of the most important things I teach you is how to become a thought leader in the work you do, how to share your unique perspectives, your embodied wisdom, and how to be the trailblazer that goes first, and also hold really beautiful, sacred space for your clients and deliver exceptional experiences for them. So we go into all of that and more. That is just like a little pitch there. And then most importantly, taking care of you in the process, because burnout is no longer the narrative in 2024. We're drawing that line in the sand. We're going to be creating those sustainable and regenerative businesses that we're looking at from an infinite game, that are going to carry us in the long term, and that we evolve and grow as that business also evolves and grows as well. And then lastly, I embrace, like, for the ladies, especially, the cyclical nature of business. There's a winter and a spring and a summer and a fall in our business, and like really embracing those ebbs and flows, because business is not straight line. It is so up and down, and it's not going to be linear. And how can we get comfortable in those different seasons of life? Last year, we made multi-six figures and I took 6 months off. I kid you not, I never thought that would be possible. A big thing that did provoke that was my dad passed. But that is why I'm so big on emotions. When we can process our emotions, when we can metabolize our emotions in our body, not think our way out of it, because we cannot get there. Our emotions are our body, our subconscious minds in our body. When we can start to get that on board, we can metabolize these things and we make space for growth, expansion, and that always shows up as more clients and more money and more passion and joy in your business. So I hope that explained it well.
Awesome. All right, going back to this other question before, because they did specify, talking about as a beginner, what do you recommend charging for 3 months of coaching? So they meant including the labs as well. I can tell you directly what Reed Davis from FDN says. Like, you got to start at least 3,000 in the beginning. That's with the labs, right? Yeah. So you have about 2,000 in personal fees and 1,000 for the labs, and you're working with them for 3 months. As you said, you're asking for 3 months of coaching, and that's going to be about a bi-weekly thing. So that is absolutely what I'd recommend in the beginning. Now, what's going to happen? You're probably going to go out and say, oh, I can't charge that. Charge less, work with them, realize, wow, this is way too much work to charge this little. And then you're going to need to charge more. So I can predict this entire process for you right now. And then you can come back in like a year and just let me know if it didn't happen or not. Sarah, what's your 2 cents on that?
Oh my gosh, you said it way better than I could have. I 100% agree with you. It's like that like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. Like, is somebody going to buy that? And then there's like, wait, there's a lot of work involved in that. It should probably be double. Yep. So there's that teeter totter. I will tell you anything. It's going to be, especially in the beginning, it's going to take you longer. It's going to be a little bit more work in the beginning. So make sure you're charging to cover your time. As time goes on, it's going to become more natural. You're going to get through things a little bit more quickly, but make sure that you are charging your worth. And I'm such a big, I'm so huge on like where we value ourselves and where we value the work that we do. And of course, like you can always increase it as time goes on if you want to keep it low, and then you can grow it from there. But it's going to take yourself some time to focus and work with these clients and put your energy into it. Because let's remember that we're not in business to be a nonprofit. We're also here to be profitable and make an impact. And it's not a bad thing to have higher ticket offers and be the luxury thing that people save for, that people put on their vision board. I have people come to me saying that working with you is on my vision board. And then they come back a few months later, they come back a year later. I just had a lady yesterday say, you know what? I'm putting you on my vision board and I'm going to make this happen this summer. I'm going to call this in. I'm going to make it work. That's okay to be that. It's okay to say no to somebody who does not value the work that you do. I've said no more than I've said yes to some people. And that was really challenging for me, especially because I'm the type of person, I want to help everyone. In the beginning of business, I was like, yes, 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 yes. And then I was like so burned out, so overwhelmed. So it's like, if somebody does not want to pay it, that's okay. They might come back later. But just always, make sure that you're taking care of you at the end of the day.
All right. Cassandra. Oh, hello, Cassandra. I don't think I've seen you in a couple days. Sarah, could you spell out even more with examples like protocols? I'd really like to
Sure.
know. I think I will have trouble narrowing down protocols. Like it
Mhm.
needs to be simple, and I think ter I think they mean big picture. Oh, it needs to be simple and in chunks. People can take it in. Are you reading this question? You got that at all?
Yeah, I do see that. So I'm just going to go up a little bit. I was
No
looking for
problem.
that one. Okay. Okay, protocols. Trouble narrating. Okay, so spell out more with protocols. Like it needs to be simple and think in chunks so people can take it in. Yeah. Yeah. I hope I'm answering this question correctly for you, Cassandra. So, as far as protocols go, yes, we don't want to like give them all this stuff that they need to work on right away. Like it's going to be so overwhelming. What I've learned along the way is, and you're going to hear me say this over and over again, I am just like, what is the very little we can do? What is like the do less strategy that is going to be the most high payoff? What are the most high payoff tools that we can start them in the beginning? So actually, and I'm going to share with you what works for me. So what I do in the beginning with somebody is they join my program, they get an email, automated email. I don't even have to think about it. They just sign up and they get every single step they do next. So you fill out this intake form, you send out this lab, you start immersing yourself into my step-by-step course. And what I do is I actually just teach them the foundations. The first month, they just do the foundations and it's dress, right? It's dress what you learn in FDN. And these are also like I've added like my own little tweaks to it as well. But these are like making sure that you're getting minerals and water. So you're actually getting the water into your cells because we need electrolytes to absorb water into our cells. It's some people do their adrenal cocktails. Like some people, I give them a list of like foods to start incorporating, protein, fats, and carbs to start incorporating into their diet. And that month alone, I've had people literally like get their period back. I've had people get pregnant. I've had people's thyroids get so much better and finally go into like that quote unquote functional normal range. So don't underlook the foundations. The second month, we start going into the testing. So I give them their test results. We go into their, in particular, what I do now is an HTMA test with them. We get their test results back. I create them a custom formula and create them a custom protocol, and they start that. But I tell them, I was like, you do the foundations first before we do a more personalized approach to this, before we go deeper, because we need those foundations covered. I don't want you coming into this being super depleted. And then from there, we give them a little bit of time. And then I go over their GI map test results and we go over what those next steps are. So you don't have to boil the ocean in one day. You don't have to do everything right away. I used to do it that way. And honestly, it overwhelmed people. So a lot of the people that come to me are already overwhelmed. They're already tired and fatigued. So I'm like, how can I make this really easily digestible for them? And that comes back to processes. You learn along the way, but how can you make this easily digestible, but still give them great results?
All right.
I hope that helped.
Otto said, remind me again, is FDN a US or Canadian based business? So the reason we talk about Canada all the time is because it's our second largest base of practitioners. Our COO is in Canada. We have multiple mentors and clinical advisors in Canada. And Reed Davis, the founder, is actually from Canada. So he was a He became a US citizen, but he was born in Canada. So we're very big on trying to help out there. So it's US based, but we have very strong ties there. Actually, some of our foundational labs operate in Canada as well. So yes, US based, but about as Canadian in addition as you could be. Kimberly asked, Sarah, how old was the oldest client that you have helped conceive naturally? Now, your results might vary, but you know.
Yeah, my oldest client's 45 that I helped conceive naturally. So, and we just had one recently, 41.
Very interesting.
So,
Diane said, HTMA, Dutch, and what? You said GI map, I think, before, right?
correct.
Some of these questions were like 20 minutes ago now. Sorry.
These are my favorite.
Right. It's good problem to have. All right, now we're flowing through because some of these are just yes, haha, thank you. All right, love that quote. Am I correct that we don't test for minerals in the foundational tests? Will we learn about minerals with FDN training, or did you learn that in other training? So no, that's not part of the foundational labs. It is something very cool that people add on. All of our clinical advisors are very well versed in this, M. So what's kind of cool is the clinical advisor sessions are not necessarily designed to be places where you've never ran a lab and then you go in, but I will say they're very nice people, and I've kind of gotten away with that, especially if you're just honest and say, hey, like, I'm just looking for some insights here. So you can kind of get rolling with it the second that you graduate from FDN, just like anything else. I wouldn't say it's a simple test because there's a lot of stuff to learn if you really want to get deep into it. But I would say some of the main takeaways from it are fairly straightforward to learn. And Sarah, I'm not as trained as you in it, so I don't want to speak incorrectly there. Please, I mean, you could literally tell me I'm straight up wrong if that's how you feel, but I feel like it's a test that you can get a lot of the, like if you're talking about slow walks, mixed dogs, all that kind of stuff, that part can be understood pretty easily, and you can give recommendations for that fairly easily. And then there's a million nuances and the other things. So, where did you go to learn more about that? I know you mentioned Lisa Patel. Did you do Kendra Perry's or anything, or where else?
Yeah. Yeah. And I will second you with, I really leaned on the medical director program, clinical advisor sessions in the beginning. Brandon really helped me. I mean, there were so many amazing medical director, clinical advisors that helped me with that. So that was huge because I felt like I was reading a different language, and I totally understand why you guys don't have this in the foundations, because it really takes it takes time to master. I'm really humble. I would say, like, I haven't mastered it. Like I got a lot of it. But there's still a lot to learn. And I personally really like it because it's helped me. I have a very personal story with it, but you don't need it to have an amazing result. So just when it comes to labs, they're just like, they're supplements, just like supplements. They add to the beauty of the work we do. Like, we actually get to get really deep dive with people, but we don't just lean on that. We also teach them the foundations that FDN provides you with in DRESS. So but yeah, when it comes to what I did take Kendra Perry's program, and I've been in like different mentorships, like with Lisa Patel, and just like with practitioners who just like want to nerd out on this stuff. So, and then also I've done thousands of them. So I have a lot of like clinical research, and we've done a lot of like analysis of symptom and mental and emotional states and nervous system states. So I'm like a big nerd on that. So.
Yeah, and Kendra Perry, for those that don't know, this is another reason that we never ended up making it a foundational thing, even if there might be validity to that. Although Sarah mentioned, there's a lot of complexity to the mastery of it. Kendra Perry not only is an FDN, she's an industry leader for HTMA, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But Kendra Perry was even one of our executive directors for our graduate group at one point. So it's like, even if we wanted to do that, we're like, no, go to Kendra.
Yeah.
That course has a nice discount once you're graduated at FDN, and that course is nowhere near the cost of FDN or anything like that. You're learning one lab, so it's a lot more. It's cheaper, right? It's straight up cheaper. So,
and I didn't do it right away.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah.
I tell everyone, I know, and it's like so funny because you can predict the path that they're going to go down, because almost everyone has to learn it in their own way. But it's like, I can't say enough. I would learn the rules and know how to play by them before you start bending them or breaking them. Otherwise, it's not just about you and your own income. It's about not serving the client at the highest level. Like, I did this 7 years ago. I thought I knew better. And so I'm charging for one GI map and a few sessions, like, because I thought that's all they were willing to pay. I have no idea what this person's financial status was. And the best one ever was when I found out the person would have spent more with me if I had actually asked them for it. So
isn't that the truth?
Projected my limiting beliefs onto them, and it wasn't even real. It's like crazy. Like that. You don't do that. Okay. Liz asked, what is the cost of your biz coaching, Sarah?
Yeah, so I have different layers to that. So I have at this point I'm reworking some of those offers, but I have like a VIP day where we can just dive deep into your business and create some systems and stuff. And then I also have a more intensive where we work together over the span of 3 to 4 months. So that's what I currently have right now, and those start at 2,000 and they go up to 7,500. So I try to keep it as affordable as possible. I have spent lots on business coaching. I've spent up to 50 some $1,000s with business coaches. So a lot of what I've also learned along the way, I've added into the value. I'm also working on like an immersive where you come to Charleston and we do
Oh, nice.
lots of lovely healing work here along with your business. So I don't have that out yet, but yeah, I love working with people in person too.
That's awesome. We got
Mhm.
about 10 minutes left here. Again, Sarah, thanks for just bringing the energy this entire time and going with these questions. There was a lot to this one.
Sure.
I think that reminded me though, because I probably should start announcing this since we're on the 19th. So remember, today at 4 o'clock EST, at the end of our second session today, which starts at 2:30 EST, we have a very special announcement for those interested in the course. Now, for our keynote this month on June 28th, this should be in your calendars. That's at 2 o'clock EST. The reason I thought about this is because last year we had our keynote speaker, Jen Sino. And if you guys don't know Jen Sino, she's an FTN who has done multiple millions of dollars a year in business. And I asked her how much she spent in business coaching, and it was over $150,000 at that time. Now, why did I think about this for the keynote this year? Because we have so much fun on the keynote. Like, please, if you're going to make anything, make that one. We had like 200 people live last year. I'm giving away free advanced courses just for guessing stuff. So, like, we literally
Wow.
had people guess how much business coaching Jen did, and like 5 people got it like within $1,000. We gave away 5 advanced courses for it. Team was pissed at me, but I'm like, hey, it's fun though. And they're like, okay, well, we can't argue that. So, we'll be doing giveaways. We'll be having a blast. Make sure that's all in your calendar. We're looking forward to seeing you there. All right, we will get some more questions going here. Um, okay. Is bi-weekly twice a week or once every week, once every other week? So when I say bi-weekly, I do mean once every other week. Is that the right way to say that, Sarah? I'll put you on the spot. Now I'm like
Yeah, you're
questioning
right.
myself.
You're
Rhonda, you
right.
got me questioning myself.
I had to think about that for a second. The math ain't mathin'.
All right. Sarah, did you do any beta programs after FDN graduation or go straight out of the gate given your previous experience?
Sure. Yeah, I went straight out of the gate with one-on-one clients because I wanted to just immerse myself in. I felt very comfortable with the people that I was working with, and they also knew that I was new to it and everything. So I did work with them, and I did run a beta group program as well. I didn't have a ton of people in it. I had, oh geez, I think 7, which was like really big for me at the time. And that taught me a lot about some of the systems that I wanted to build out.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Ev. Is there advanced course on minerals at FDN? There's not an advanced course on minerals at FDN because we have an amazing relationship with Kendra. And like Reed says, like she did it as well as you can. So everyone is referred to Kendra. You can look at her as our advanced course, but that's not to discredit her. She built that and did that herself. But it's like that's what we would do if we had one. So we just like, hey, go to Kendra. And again, she gives a very nice discount for our FDN grads, which is awesome.
Mhm.
But again, you can go to clinical advisors. There's trainings in the graduate group. Like spend the time there first before you spend any other money if you don't want to. You do not have to do that right out of the gate by any means. I love Kendra personally. I've never bought a course, just to be honest, and I still use HTMA sometimes. Okay, where do you send samples for labs suggested by FDN to get results and then interpreting it? Does FDN provide support for labs across US and Canada? Okay, so I'll take this one, obviously. You'll have an event this weekend, I believe. Let me make sure I'm not misspeaking. Okay, yes. So there's FDN around the world this Saturday at 4 EST. So
Oh.
that's an international Q&A. But bottom line is not only do we provide support for US and Canada, we provide support for over 50 countries around the world. So pretty much if you're watching this, we help you. So you're good to go there. And then with the samples, the foundational labs that we're using, other than the MRT food sensitivity test, are not blood draws. Like they are saliva samples, urine samples. You kind of prick your finger and get a little blood sample from that. So not a blood draw, just a quick finger prick like a blood glucose monitor would do. So these are all things that your clients can do in the comfort of their home and then ship out. Even the food sensitivity test I was talking about, there's little agreements with labs all over the US, and that's only a US one. So if you're in another country, you don't even have to worry about the blood draw there. There is no blood draw. Everything can be done in the comfort of one's own home. Okay, okay, special announcement at 4 p.m. Yep, I know that. When is the keynote again? Thank you, team, for putting that in. All right, so I'm trying to get one for you, my friend. Okay, yeah, they're really going in the chat now. Kendra who barking dogs in a we got to get a commission from Kendra or something. We're shouting her out. Jeez, Kendra. Kendra Perry, yes. So FDN team put that in the chat. Happy to hear you mention affiliates outside of MDP arrangement. Do you do Dutch and GI map via affiliate arrangement? If yes, how do you handle the pricing for your clients? Otto, so no, we don't. We're not lab test salespeople, right? I'm sure FDN has some small thing, but I don't even know if that's relevant anymore because we just announced that we partnered with Avexia. And so I'm sure Avexia makes a little money off the test. That's probably how they operate, but it's very minimal because they're a volume-based company, right? Not an individual lab. So like they're selling thousands and thousands and thousands, so they can charge maybe, a little bit extra per lab and still make a lot of money. We are not lab test salespeople. They are tools. And so we're not upcharging on the labs, although I guess in theory, nothing stops you from doing that. I would just count that as a personal fee at that point, right? Like coaching stuff. So, Sarah, it looks like maybe the question's finally chilled out for you. So I have to ask then just one more time, and we'll have the links dropped below after you say it. So don't worry about doing that. Where can people find you? And then just to be very clear, you still do offer health coaching, but you also offer the business mentorship. Let's just specify all that.
Yeah, correct. So I offer health coaching, and I have a company called Hormone Goddess, and you can find me at the Hormone Goddess on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. I also have Facebook. So if you're not an Instagrammer, you can just find me at Sarah Ball. And my email, I am active there too, is hello@hormonegoddess.com. And then the Relax CEO is where I mentor business owners who are in the wellness space, predominantly health coaches and FDNs.
All right. Guys, I ask this every time, and I see Elizabeth, you already step ahead, so you rock, Elizabeth. But this is amazing when someone comes on and you heard what she charges, and it's just, no, free. I'll come on for 90 minutes and literally give my best energy and best self just to provide value. Can we just drop a thank you in the chat if you guys appreciated this session today with Sarah? Sometimes, like, that's the thing that makes it all worth it, is just seeing how many people appreciated what was said. So just drop a thank you in the chat, and I would love you guys. Oh, here they come. Look at that. Aww. Beautiful. You guys are great.
Thank you.
You guys rock. So we'll be back at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time, and out. Oh wait, no, I get 2 hours. Yes, a 2-hour break from now. So grab some lunch, do some stuff, have fun, and we'll see you then. And then we have a special announcement at 4:00 EST. And Sarah, I'm going to reach out to you privately with our podcast scheduler. I'd love to get you back on for the Health Detective podcast to talk about your health story more if you'd like.
So excited. Would love to.
I mean, yeah, you're on the spot live. You kind of have to say it. So you don't want to be that guy.
All right. It's been on my list to reach out to you, so it's perfect.
Awesome. All right, I'll see you guys in 2 hours. Sarah, thanks. And so cool to know that you were from Doylestown. That was awesome. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this replay. If you want to know when the other replays will be, check out this link below. It's probably good to have in general because it will help you with the upcoming week. It's fdntraining.com/SOH calendar, like summer open house, fdntraining.com/SOH calendar. Please do not forget our 2:00 Eastern Standard Time keynote speech on June 28th, that Friday, or this Friday, upcoming, I guess, at this point. It is going to be awesome. If you have any questions that you need help with in the immediate moment, I shouldn't say immediate because our team will kill me, but you can get answers very quickly by reaching out directly at fdninfo@afdnp.com. And perhaps even a faster way would be to follow us on Instagram at FDN Training. Shoot us a direct message there. We do have real humans that answer. They're not chatbots. If you ever dropped a word in one of our lives, then it's a chatbot, but otherwise it is not a chatbot. We are actually conversing directly with you. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the live sessions this upcoming week, and I hope that you are enjoying the replays. Thanks so much.